What's up guys, it's Eric here, and welcome to my Legends tier list for Set 9. If you guys don't know what Legends are, they're a new mechanic in Set 9, where prior to starting a game, you can select a Legend, so say we select Ornn, and what Ornn is going to do is he's going to guarantee that we get one of these augments at 2-1. So if you pick Ornn and it's a gold augment, you will always get the option of taking Portable Forge at 2-1, at 3-2 you're offered these options, and at 4-2 you're offered these options. So a really cool way to sort of like guarantee that you get an augment that you're comfortable with, prevent yourself from like low rolling and getting 3 augment options that you really don't like. So a really cool mechanic. We are going to go into my tier list in a sec, but right before we do that, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor for today's video, which is Tacter. If you guys haven't heard of Tacter, they're a guide website that is focused on helping you improve in TFT. I have done my own guide on Tacter. It is a built over Zeri guide, which is just, in my opinion, one of the most fun comps. You can play this set, get a huge T-Hex by stacking up Piltover, then pivot into this Zeri board, and you're absolutely unstoppable. It's a pretty nice interface. You can see the entire comp here, all the synergies in units with their BIS itemization. You can, see a little text that I have written about this, and then I got some early game boards for you, some even more description on how to play the comp, mid-game boards, power spikes, added some images here. So this is, an image showing off all of the Zaun chem mods that you can get in this comp. T-Hex cash out, it's got a ton of information in here for you, some general augment and legend guidelines. So yeah, I got a lot of information in here for you about this comp, and yeah, it's really cool that Tacter has, enabled me to create this cool guide for you and to share this really cool platform with you. They also have a Discord server if you're interested in being around other like-minded individuals who want to improve at the game. You can check out their Discord server as well. And there will be a link in the description to Tacter so that you can check out my guide and any of the other guides written by experts as well. Also, it would be silly to not mention that we are doing a cross-Discord promotion with Tacter as well. So if you guys join my Discord, you go to the announcements channel, you can see this announcement I have. What you have to do for this giveaway is join my Discord, join Tacter's Discord. We are giving away 5 €20 RP cards. And the way this giveaway is going to work is that after the first 2 weeks of the set, anyone can submit their rank if they've joined both of our Discords, and whoever the 5 highest ranked players are, we're going to give RP to them. So it's a really cool sort of like race to see who are the highest ranked players on my server. It'll be really fun. I know everyone at the beginning of the set is usually racing to get as high rank as possible, so this will be another sort of fun incentive for you guys to push high rank as high as possible. And you have 2 weeks, so you have a lot of time. Even if you can't play the first few days of the set, you got some time to push rank and see how high you can get. Also, I don't know how many people are going to sign up for it, so even if you're not, a rank 1 challenger, I'm sure there's still a very decent chance that if you submit your rank, you can get some RP. So yeah, join my Discord, join Tacter's Discord, submit your rank near the end of the threshold in the Tacter giveaway channel in my Discord. So thank you, Tacter, for this partnership between Discords, and thank you for sponsoring this video. Please go check them out. Once again, there is a link in the description down below. Now let's get into the tier list. As I do with a lot of these, I am going to go from weakest to strongest just because I think that is more interesting. I will have timestamps down below for all of the legends. There are a lot of legends, there are 15, so I'm going to try to make this video not insanely long by going through them relatively quickly, and especially the bad ones I'm going to gloss over a little bit, but I do want to look at them. So starting weakest to strongest with our first legend that I want to talk about, Bard. Bard, I'm an absolute Bard hater, and the problem with Bard, in my opinion, is this first augment, Caretaker's Ally. You do not have an augment until you hit level 6 or level 5, so you're basically playing an entire stage without an augment. Now, if these augments were super broken, maybe you could make the argument that you should take these. However, the rewards are not even that good. Level 6 at Silver in a 2-star Tier 3 unit, I mean, it's good, but once you hit level 6, a lot of other people are going to be hitting strong boards, and this is sort of a random Tier 3 unit, so I'm not going to go through every augment. Another one that I just think shows the problem with Bard, Caretaker's Chosen Prismatic version. When you hit level 5, you get a Radiant Armory, so you've basically taken Radiant Relics, but you had to wait until level 5 to crack it open. So not only do you have to sort of make it work with your board as opposed to making your board work with it, but you've also lost out on all the value of having it during the early game. Then, if you get to level 9, you get another Radiant item. The problem is that it's very unlikely that you're going to make it to level 9 in a lot of games, especially when you're playing down a Prismatic Augment during Stage 2, so I just don't think this is ever going to be a good take. The rest of the options for Bard are okay. Gain a completed item anvil, gain 12 gold. These are also what Ornn has, and these are pretty solid, but with the 2-1 augments being as bad as they are, I don't really want to opt into Bard to take these mediocre augments, and then teaming up is actually a very solid option that is even going to get nerfed. So I like teaming up, but it's really the 2-1 augments that hold Bard back to me, and so I would never ever really take Bard just because I am a big hater of his 2-1 augments. Let's go next to Master Yi. So Master Yi is another unit where I really don't like his 2-1 augment for a very similar reason to Bard, in that you don't get any instant value. You're getting 10% attack speed at prismatic value, but each round you're getting an extra 2%. This could be good for some kind of lost streak strategy where you spike really hard with a bunch of attack speed, maybe some kind of like reroll comp that really wants a bunch of attack speed, like Callista reroll perhaps. But I'm really not convinced that this is enough of a benefit to make up for the fact that you're playing almost down an entire augment at 2-1. So very similar to Bard, honestly. Battle Ready is a strong option that is getting nerfed, so I like that. And then Gotta Go Fast. This is an interesting augment that I would like to try out, but just similar to Bard, because the 2-1 options for Master Yi, I don't enjoy them very much. I can't really, in good faith, look at Gotta Go Fast as well as an option that I really want to take. So similar reasons for Master Yi, I'm just not very interested in taking his augments. Next, let's go to Pengu. So Pengu, it literally says play it safe, great for beginners. The problem is that if you're playing it safe every game from the get-go, you make it hard for yourself to do very well, get those top 1, top 2 performances. Pengu's first 3 augments all give you increased HP, which are not bad. Tiny Titans at 2-1 is generally not good because it limits your ability to get good items off Carousel, but Metabolic Accelerator is not bad at 2-1. The problem is you have to play for Lost Streak with Pengu to really get value out of these augments, and you don't want to play for Lost Streak every game. I don't really like locking myself into that Lost Streak strategy, so and you don't get much of a benefit out of it. There are a lot of stronger Lost Streak augments than Metabolic Accelerator. Just giving you extra HP is fine, but not as good as I think it could be. So another sort of mediocre legend, I think. Item Grab Bag is fine, and Final Grab Bag is not bad either. But once again, it is the 2-1 problem where I'm just really not happy with any of these 2-1 augments. And then last in the D tier, we have Ezreal, kind of following a similar pattern, actually. His 3 augments, you have to wait in the Prismatic version 5 rounds to get your random item components. You really want to slam items in TFT, but say you take Buried Treasures 3, you have to wait 5 rounds to see what all your items are going to be. These are completely random item components. I really don't want to be slamming a ton of items before I know what my other items are, but at the same time, I'm not going to wait until the end of Stage 2 to slam all of my components. So another sort of doesn't do anything early option for Ezreal, and it makes me sort of hate him as well. More components with big grab bag, and then Well-Earned Comfort is actually a pretty interesting augment. Your units gaining stats for each item equipped. I do think the idea behind Ezreal I like a lot. Get a ton of extra item components and then give your units extra stats. 90 HP for each item equipped isn't awful. So, you know, if you have a 3-item carry, it gets 270 extra HP. That's not bad, but it's not great, and it definitely doesn't make up for the fact that I really dislike his 2-1 augments. So yeah, sort of similar idea for all of the legends in the D tier. They just don't do enough early game, and I don't feel you get compensated enough late game for how much of a sacrifice you have to make early. Only got one legend in the C tier, and that is Aurelion Sol. I know a lot of people are going to like this legend, so I don't feel bad if you want to take him. The problem, I think, with Aurelion Sol, Patient Study is actually quite strong. I like Patient Study a good bit, just as a strong sort of econ augment in that it gives you free experience. The big issue with Aurelion Sol is this Cutting Corners augment was bugged for a long time on PvE, so I'm not even sure how exactly it works now. I hope they fix the bug with it. But Level Up, the big issue is that Level Up is not the best augment at 2-1 when you don't know what your situation is. you really want level up when you have a ton of gold stacked up. So Aurelion Sol can actually be really good if you have, say, a region that gives you a ton of gold. If you go to, say, Scuttle Puddle, which gives you a ton of extra gold, level up feels really good. Level up feels good when you have a ton of gold. The problem is if you are in a region that doesn't give you gold, or if you have a bunch of item opener, you really don't want to take level up. And when you're taking a legend, you want to be very happy about taking their prismatic option because there are multiple portals that guarantee you prismatics. So I don't like taking level up at 2-1 generally, just because if you have a low gold opener, it's going to feel quite bad. There's other options, knowledge download, that give you XP. So this is basically giving you this amount of gold, but you are forced to spend it on XP. I mean, it's definitely not bad. 22 gold for a gold augment, basically 36 for a prismatic is definitely not bad. It makes me think of like a slightly weaker windfall. So I don't hate it. And then his last option, it pays to learn, sort of a similar thing where half of it is converted to gold, half of it's converted to XP. The problem here, if you were to take all 3 Aurelion Sol augments, say you took level up, then knowledge download is very low value because you don't actually really, you would much prefer this be gold because then you could convert it into more XP with level up. And then say it pays to learn. Say you took something like level up, knowledge download, it pays to learn. You're just going to lose every single fight late game because you are down, you have 0 combat augments. So that's another reason I don't really like Aurelion Sol. It doesn't really offer you the ability to guarantee combat augments, which I think some of the best legends do. So those are my thoughts on Aurelion Sol. Let's move up into the B tier, some slightly better legends, ones that I'm more happy to take. Caitlyn is a pretty cool legend focused on win streaking. I really like her prismatic, where you gain a tier 4 champion and an item they can use. And then at the next stage, you get another tier 4 champion. So you almost get a tier 2, you almost get a 2-star tier 4 champion for free. I think this is really nice. Say it offers you, say, an Aurelion Sol. Say it offers you a Aphelios with a Gwynsu early game, or a Kaisa with an Archangels. I mean, you are just set for the game as long as you can find one more throughout the rest of the game. So I really like this. I also like Stars is Born a good bit to make an early strong board with a tier 1 2-star and a tier 2 2-star. So, and you can even pick them. So it's even better than something like True 2s in the past that would give you, you know, those 2-star units, but they're random. Stars are Born, you can actually pick the ones that you get based upon the units that are in your shop, but still. 1, 2's 3, I'm not the biggest fan of. I just feel like it doesn't really do enough. Then, for the rest of our augments, once again, we have Knowledge Download, and then Rolling for Days is not an augment that I love that much. Just a lot of shop refreshes for free. Ideally, you're hitting some kind of 3-star unit with this, either with like the Prismatic hitting a 3-star 4 cost, or a 3-star 3 cost, or something like that. But really not a huge fan of taking multiple non-combat augments, and none of Caitlyn's augments are combat, so I would feel okay taking like starter kit and then just playing down the fact that I know I'm not going to take this or this late game, but it does feel a little bit bad, so that's why she sits in the B tier. Next, we got Lee Sin. He's got some really interesting augments. So On a Roll feels really good with low-cost reroll comps. When you are rolling, you pick up a bunch of 1-star units. A very important point with On a Roll is that you can 2-star 1-star units that you don't plan on playing in your comp just to get the free reroll and then sell them immediately, because that is gold neutral. So that is one way to get actually a ton of free rerolls, especially when you're rolling down for a 1-cost reroll comp. So say like a Jhin Irelia reroll comp, or a Samira Irelia reroll comp, you can take On a Roll and get a ton of free rerolls. So I like this augment a lot. Parade Sector, I don't love, but it's fine. And Shopping Spree is actually an augment that I've had a good amount of success with. So in general, I like these. It's a little bit odd because On a Roll really wants to play for like reroll comps, and then Trade Sector and Shopping Spree do not want you to play for reroll comps at all. They want you to push levels and get high value out of these. So it's sort of a weird mishmash, but I don't hate these. Training Reward, on the other hand, I am a pretty large hater of. I mean, just looking, you're telling me my silver augment is going to be 5 gold and a lesser champion duplicator? Like, there's so much better stuff at silver. Similar, Training Reward 2, 13 gold and a lesser champion duplicator, I just don't think is worth an augment whatsoever. Training Reward 3, 18 gold and a big champion duplicator, I think maybe, you know, just guaranteeing that 5-cost duplicator is something that's decent, but I really don't like either of these two augments. And then money, or actually it's money. I hate late game econ augments like this where you gain gold and then you have to wait 4 turns for 16 gold. So you're telling me I'm waiting till like the end of stage 4 to get the rest of my gold? That's insane. I do not want half of my augment to be stuck at the end of stage 4. That is way, way, way too long to be waiting for my augment. So Lee Sin, with actually some solid 2-1 options, but I'm really not the biggest fan of most of his 3-2 and 4-2 options. And then last in the B tier, we have Draven. So Draven's actually a really fun one. I would take Draven if you're... Look, I don't condone smurfing. I don't think it's a good thing to do, but if you're smurfing in low elo, this is probably the best way to guarantee easy top 1s and top 2s, because you can just farm weak early boards and get a ton of gold and loot in general. So the way this works is that whenever you kill an enemy unit, you get a chance of dropping loot. This is usually just some gold. Sometimes with like the prismatic version, you can get insane stuff. I think even with the lower version, sometimes you can even high roll duplicators. I think he's fine. The problem is sort of similar to Pengu, actually. Draven is sort of the reverse of Pengu, where Pengu, you want to be loss streaking every game. Draven, you want to be win streaking every game. The nice thing about Pengu, actually, is that it's easy to force... You can always force loss streak. You can't always force win streak. So it would definitely feel bad if you take Draven and then end up with, say, like, no 2-star units early. The nice thing is that you can take Draven as sort of like a safety valve, where if you... Not even really a safety valve, more of like a high roll valve, where if you high roll a really strong opener, boom, I'll take Spoils of War and try to win streak with it. And if I low roll my opener, I'll just take one of the other 2 augments. So I think this is fine. The problem is just that you are playing down a combat augment, so you're already up against a wall trying to win streaks. You really, really need a strong opener to make these augments really work. Once you get rolling, you can pour your econ into pushing levels so that you can continue to win streak, but it's really getting those first few streaks, first few wins that is difficult. I also am a huge, huge hater of balanced budget. Once again, just an augment that makes me wait to get gold, I just hate. I just hate. They would have to buff these a good bit, and I think they are actually buffing them a little bit, but still. It also doesn't really make any sense with the Spoils of War. You would love Draven to be Spoils of War into like combat augment to keep you win streaking, but instead I'm gonna have to skip balanced budget because, I mean, there is no way I'm gonna take Spoils of War and then an econ augment. And then lastly, Rolling for Days will help you spike your board a bit, but I already talked about Rolling for Days. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It could work in a way where you push levels really hard, you're very fast level 8, take Rolling for Days, and hit the fastest 3-star forecast of your life, but you would have to be win streaking basically the entire game to make that work. So Draven, I think, fine. That's why we put him in the B tier. All right, let's go to our A tier. First, we have Urf. I am very passionate about the fact that I think at some point in this set, Urf is just going to be broken. There's no way, almost guaranteeing that you get a Tome of Traits on 2-1 will not be broken at some point in this set. We just have to get to the point where there is some insanely broken comp that requires +1. You know, while we were on PBE, Shurima was very strong with a +1. Void was very strong with a +1. So I think Urf was a fine little legend, a fine legend to use on PBE. Right now, right going into live, they've actually nerfed Shurima and Void, so I'm not actually sure what the broken extra trait is that you can use. I'm sure that as time goes on, they just buffed Demacia. Perhaps Demacia +1 is really broken. People will find really broken emblem combinations. So I am passionate that Urf will be very, very strong throughout the set. I put him in A tier because I'm not sure that he is broken right now, but I do think, like, if I had to say across the entire set, what do I think the strongest legends will be, I would put Urf in S tier probably. And Branching Out's actually a pretty fun one where you get a random emblem and or a forger, so you can basically pick from one of 2 emblems, which I think has the potential to high roll really, really hard, but also has the potential to low roll a bit. But you are getting an emblem for a silver tier augment, which is really good. 3-2 augments, not bad, but a lot more forgivable because I love his 2-1 options so much, and then Urf's grab bag or final grab bag, I think, are very nice as well. Imagine, you know, you have an emblem from early prismatic, and then you get Urf's grab bag, you can get another spatula and make something. Feels really, really nice. So yeah, I like Urf a lot. I honestly think Urf's a little bit underrated, and once we sort of realize the full potential of Urf, I think he will start to pop off. Next up, we have Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench, I think, is really nice for anyone who wants to loss streak so really hard. I just think AFK is a very, very strong augment, especially with a lot of regions where you can generate a lot of econ very quickly. Once again, I'll talk to Scuttle Puddle. If you make 20 gold by 2-1 and then take AFK, like, you are set. You are set for the rest of the game, gold-wise. I think similarly, if you have an insane econ opener and then you take Rich Get Richer or Hedge Fund, I think you are completely set. So I'm a little bit surprised to see Tahm Kench not played that much. We'll see on live how much people end up playing him. We're not going to have legend stats, but, you know, I talked about that already. In any case, I think Tahm Kench is a very, very nice legend if you want to play really, really greedy lost streak openers. The problem, of course, is you end up with this balanced budget and money, money, money option, which I do hate, like I talked about earlier, until they buff these more. So I'd really just take Tahm Kench for a strong 2-1 and then probably ignore both of these options. But I do think that's not that bad considering AFK, I think, is a very strong augmented 2-1, and Rich Get Richer and Hedge Fund, I think, are very good in the right spots. Next up, we have Veigar. So we saw my buddy Garchomp Pro perform quite well in Emily Wang's PvE tournament with Veigar. He basically took Veigar and then hard-forced Vel'Koz reroll, and you can guarantee a Jeweled Lotus with Veigar, which means that you can ignore building a JG or an IE on your main carry. So if you essentially want to have like a 4-item main carry, I think Veigar is really, really nice. So something like a Vel'Koz, then Garchomp Pro is allowed to build Blue Buff, Gunblade, Guardbreaker on his Vel'Koz many, many games. And so he essentially gets a 4-item Vel'Koz, which is very, very strong, especially once you hit Vel'Koz 3. So I think Veigar will be really nice for the people who want to play for really, really capped strong carries. So I actually like Veigar a good bit. Tiny Power, I'm a pretty big hater of. I just don't think this is enough. I don't think this is enough stats for an augment to give you personally. Maybe I'm proven wrong. Maybe they buff it, but yeah, I'm a real hater of Tiny Power. I do like Ascension, though. I do think Ascension and Final Ascension, and even Partial Ascension, are not bad augments whatsoever. It's a little bit weird because I feel like a lot of units that will want Jeweled Lotus are going to want to be just casting and like one-shotting people. But, you know, if you have some unit that really wants Jeweled Lotus and wants to make the fights last a long time, then I think Ascension and Final Ascension and Partial Ascension are completely takeable. So I like Veigar a good bit. I have him in the A tier. And for our last A tier, we have Vladimir. Vladimir has fallen from grace a little bit because he just got nerfed, and he is going to be nerfed on live. If there were no changes, I would say Vladimir is hands down the most broken legend that you can take, but they have nerfed Transfusion, they have nerfed Shurima, which was his best comp, they have nerfed Bruisers, so everything that really synergizes with Vladimir is not as strong as it was. I still am going to put him in A tier because I think this Transfusion effect is just so strong, all the extra HP, and disregard these numbers because these numbers are going to be slightly different on live, but it's the same effect. You gain HP, and then you gain HP for missing Tactician's health, which is a really, really cool effect. So you're allowed to Lost Streak, gain a bunch of HP on all of your units, and then have a very strong cap board late game. It's really good with Shurima because Shurima heals you based on your max HP and gives you extra max HP, and Bruiser because Bruisers, of course, scale with max HP as well. So I really like Vladimir with Shurima comps and like a Rek'Sai reroll option. I think Vlad is very good if you want to flex between those two options, like an AD, AP sort of setup. I think Vlad is very good for that. But like I said, both those comps got nerfed, so I say he's a little bit worse. Battle Ready, I also think, is a very strong option that also got nerfed, so you can sort of see Vlad sort of nerfed across the board. And then Ascension as well, I think, is a strong option. I really like the fact that Vladimir is triple combat augment. All of these are going to make your board stronger. So in the worst case, when you're taking Vlad augments, even though they're nerfed, you're still getting triple combat, which is going to make your board strong late game. So I really, really like that for Vladimir. So he is my last legend in the A tier. All right, let's move up to the S tier. First, we have Twisted Fate. So Twisted Fate is a really interesting legend in that you get Pandora's items guaranteed at the start of the game. So you can just greed whatever items you want. I think this fundamentally has to be very strong because guaranteeing BIS itemization is very good. We've seen a lot of people playing around a lot of Zeke's Heralds and building a ton of Zeke's with, say, like Garen reroll or Rek'Sai reroll. I think there's definitely going to be a strong reroll comp on release that utilizes this. And then Pandora's Radiant Pandora's box is also really, really interesting, where you can reroll a Radiant item, look for your best option. The problem is that you are playing down that Radiant item every round that you're rerolling it, but I do think Twisted Fate is really, really nice if you want to sort of hard force a certain angle, a certain comp, or even like AD flex. I think TF is very, very strong for that. Also think item grab bag, completely fine as a second augment, especially when you start with Pandora's. And then teaming up is also another really good option, as I talked about before. Just guaranteeing extra Zeke's Heralds feels really, really, really good. So yeah, I think TF is very strong. He is going to be one of the strongest legends on release. Next, we have Ornn. I think Ornn is going to be the one that a lot of people are going to default to. Doesn't mean you have to play hard for win streak or loss streak. You can just sort of play whatever. Portable Forge is completely fine early. A lot of the new Forge items that they added are quite strong. Living Forge is fine, giving you an Ornn item and then another one later in the game. And then Latent Forge is probably the one I like the least because you are playing down an augment for a while. But getting basically Portable Forge at 3-2 by sacking your first augment is not bad. So I like Latent Forge a decent bit. And then Medium Forge I think is nice as well. Just getting components, extra gold I think is completely solid, especially when your 2-1 augment options are this good. And then 3-2, even more components, potentially an Ornn item anvil. Yeah, I think Ornn's options are just aggressively solid. You don't have to play, like I said, you don't have to play for win streak, you don't have to play for lose streak. You just take your Ornn items, put them on your units, and you're very happy with your good augments. So with your good items. So yeah, I like Ornn a ton. I think he's very solid, and I think he's going to be one of the most picked legends on release. And last but absolutely not least, my last legend in the S tier is actually Poro. And if you click on Poro, you'll see Poro says, no tailoring, just a classic game of TFT. So there's nothing to review with Poro. Now, a lot of you, if you aren't that familiar with legends, might say, wait, why would you ever take Poro? He gives you no guaranteed options. Shouldn't you guarantee something else? The nice thing about Poro is that we've gone through all of the legend augments so far. I have talked through, say, quite a few legends like Tahm Kench, where great options at 2-1, but 3-2 and 4-2 as options are just not great. So someone like Poro is actually really, really nice because you never are playing with dead options. You always get offered 6 augment options per augment because you can reroll them. And this allows you the highest chance of high rolling a really, really strong augment. There's no, say, like built diff here. There's no cruel pack. There's no insane prismatic augments in any of these legends that are like more broken than the most high roll options. In the past, it was like Void +1, Shurima +1 were so insane. So I like Poro for keeping yourself open to high rolling certain augments that are really, really strong. And I like Poro for anyone who really wants to play flex. I am very, very tempted to take Poro on release, just play flex, play whatever I hit, and have a good time in TFT. So I think if that's the kind of style you like, just super flex play, you are going to get rewarded if you take Poro because you have the opportunity to get just anything, really, anything strong. All right, we got through it all. This recording looks pretty long on my end, but I'm gonna cut it up a bit, so hopefully it's not insanely long. Hope this helps you guys going into release. Good luck. This is going to be going out the day of Set 9 release, so good luck on the climb today. Do your best. I'm going to be climbing and streaming as well, so go check out my Twitch. But yeah, thank you guys for staying for the whole video. If you did, you're a beast. And good luck on the climb. You got this.